Welcome to the Locker Room Finance podcast. On today's episode, we are interviewing Natalie Kimmel, a former volleyball player at the University of Incarnate Word here in San Antonio, Texas. Natalie's graduating in just about a month, and a few months ago, I presented to her volleyball team, and we ended up meeting one-on-one after that. And the episode title is true. She ended up saving about $66,000 based on some decisions that she and I made together. I'm in no way claiming that I'm the reason that this happened, but I'm really grateful for her spending the time to talk to me and learning some things along the way. And I'm happy to have played a small part in her decisions for the next phase of her life. That did end up saving her about $66,000. If you and I haven't met yet, my name is Connor. I own Locker Room Finance, and we provide financial education that student athletes actually enjoy so they can win with money, just like Natalie's doing. I'm really grateful for Natalie taking the time to sit down with me and joining me on the Locker Room Finance podcast. I hope you enjoy this episode and consider following me on Instagram at Locker Room Finance and listening to some of the other podcast episodes that I posted here.
So you're about to graduate in May, so 2 months from now. How's it feel?
A little scary because this is what I've known for the past 4 years. I get really excited for the next step though, but my next step starts 9 days after graduation.
What's 9 days after graduation? Moving?
I'm moving to Dallas 2 days after I graduate into an apartment that I've already signed with.
Yeah.
And then class starts.
Class starts 9 days after.
Yeah, class starts for PT school 9
That's
days
crazy.
after graduation.
Did you found a roommate?
Yeah, well, we had a group chat and I just kind of sent a text and I prefaced with, I have a cat, so.
So looking back, you were at UIW for 4 years playing volleyball.
Mhm.
Tell me about it. What was like the best parts?
Probably just the maturity that I developed. Being an athlete, you kind of just have to say yes, yes ma'am, yes sir, and have to get good grades. You have to do what you're told.
What's your GPA?
3.46.
That's good.
Not good enough.
It's respectable.
I definitely should have tried harder in my freshman year because they were all the easy classes. And I thought, oh, I don't need to worry about my GPA anymore. And then I realized PT school, they're going to look at your GPA in shining letters and or shining numbers.
So on the volleyball side of things, you played a lot of volleyball. I guess you probably had to travel a lot for that. Yeah. What are some of the best places that you went with the volleyball team?
Probably New Orleans, just because of the culture there.
Yeah. Who'd y'all play in New Orleans?
University of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then Charleston was super fun. That campus was beautiful. The gym was awesome. Volleyball, not our best volleyball, but the experience was great.
Yeah. What was y'all's best year volleyball wise?
Probably this senior year. Each of my years, thankfully, not my sophomore year, but freshman year, we had a winning record. Yeah. Something we hadn't had before. 13 wins. Junior year, I think it was 15 wins. Another record. Senior year, I think it was 17 wins. 3 out of 4 of the years I've been here, we've had.
How does the, I guess, like conference tournament work with volleyball?
They changed it.
Is there a tournament?
Yeah, they changed it this year. But basically, it's single elimination. The top 8 teams in the conference, there's 12 right now. Top 8 teams just kind of.
So y'all went to that?
All 4 years.
Did you win this year?
No.
I'm close?
We made it to the semifinals.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Out of 8, so you won 1 game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next in your life is PT school. Talk to me about that and what the next, I guess, 3 to 5 years looks like. Because it's school, but then it's residency?
Yeah.
Or it's like, tell me the process.
I'm planning, so PT school, it'll take 2.5 years to complete that. I will graduate in December 2027.
Okay.
And then right off the bat, I'm going to try for a residency program. I don't know all the details about it, but it's not going straight into working. It's kind of working and learning.
Yeah.
And
that's another like 3 years?
I think so.
Ish.
I think it's 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And after that, who knows? It's a lot of research. I'm not the biggest fan of research.
Yeah.
But
the medical world and school and everything is crazy. So what's the end goal? You're from Houston, right? So is the end goal to go back to Houston and be a physical therapist or?
No.
What?
I kind of have a few different routes that I want to go. Either sports medicine or special needs pediatrics, or pelvic floor for women. So I kind of just will spend the next 2.5 years figuring out.
I guess all your classes, you'll get exposed to all the different things.
And we have clinical rotations. I think I have 4. So I get to kind of decide either where I want to go or what kind of PTs I want, what kind of clinic I want to go to. So it's just kind of figuring it out.
I guess depending on what happens in the next 2.5 years, then you kind of figure out what you like and what you're good at and what you want to do. And then that. Do you want to go back to Houston? Do you care where you go?
I'd like to try a different place for clinicals. So maybe somewhere outside of Texas.
Yeah.
But I love Texas. So I do want to stay. I want to stay near my family. My boyfriend's from Dallas. So we kind of have to factor in maybe, and in between. Or...
Y'all are engaged?
No, we've been dating for 2 years though.
Okay, so you got into 2 schools and you...
Yeah, I ended up getting into 4.
You got into 4 schools?
Yes, but originally when we had talked for the first time, it was just the 1.
Yeah.
And then when I talked to you again, texted you about, I'm trying to make a decision between 2, it's just 2. After I made my decision,
and now
2
it's 4
more said yes.
And so what was the decision-making process, like which school you wanted to go to and how you ended up deciding?
UIW, when I made my decision, it was really based off of feeling and a lot of prayer. And I felt really good about my decision to come here. And so the same thing happened with making the decision between the 2 schools. I had so many different things to factor into it. Financial, where I want to live, and what kind of community I want to be in.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of prayer and figuring myself out and what was best for me. And ultimately, the decision I made was what's going to set me up best as a physical therapist and financially. So I kind of took the community side out of it and just kind of looked at the schools and just...
Because the education will be very similar, right? Like you'll still get the same degree. You'll be a doctor.
The class size is the same. It was 43 versus 40.
And so the biggest difference is what? Just the campus and the environment? And
the biggest difference, I think, is the reach that each of the schools have. And
what do you mean reach?
So the school that I decided on, they have a huge nationwide, I guess, web of connections. Yeah. The other one, just a great little community,
Yeah.
And talking to other physical therapists and people in the medical world, they ended up telling me, we're so glad you made the decision you did.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though the school you didn't pick, the first one you were thinking about, when we talked, you were really excited about that.
I did.
Because it's like the pretty campus and it's in a cute, small little town. And so you kind of went away from that and went more towards this one's cheaper and it has good connections and I'll get a great education.
Yeah, because the one I decided on is harder to get into. It's public university. The other one, private, a lot more expensive. And when I was so excited talking to you about it is because whenever I know, this is the path that I have to go on, I get myself super excited for it. I get super hyped for it because, this is what my life's going to look like. So I'm thinking about to spend the next 2.5 years in a tiny town and then unfortunately be in debt for the rest of my life.
A long time. Yeah. So, okay, talking about the money side of it, the school you didn't choose was $103,000, and then the same degree at another school was $38,000. So a difference of, let's say, $70,000. That's going to be the title of this episode, like saving an athlete $70,000.
Perfect.
If we never would have talked, I don't want to take credit for anything. If we never would have talked, do you think you would have still gone with the first school, even knowing, like after you got into the other one, would you have been so fixated on the first one that you would have still gone to that school?
That I wouldn't have been as stressed, no offense, about the more expensive school. Because in my head, from what I knew about finances before our one-on-one meeting, before you spoke to our team, from what I knew, I thought that I would be fine. I thought that FAFSA would pay for all of it, that I'd spend 10 years. You hear about the people who are hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt forever and are trying to get married, and now their significant other stressed about that. I never thought that would happen to me. You thought
someone else would pay for it, or what?
No, I thought that it would just work out. I didn't know.
You just hadn't thought about it.
No.
You figured it would work.
I didn't know anything about the loans that have 12% interest. I thought that it was.
So did you think you were going to have to take out loans? You just didn't know how that would impact your life?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I thought that, I didn't think about rent. I didn't think about adding in what my parents saved for me. I just thought that I would maybe have to take out a little bit of loans from the government or for FAFSA, and that I wasn't going to be that person that goes to their significant other and says, by the way, I'm $200,000 in debt. You're marrying into that. Was super stressed. Going back to what you asked, I was super stressed learning about how much I would have to pay back, how long it would take me to pay it back.
How interest works.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
You learn about doing the math, but you don't learn about how much it affects you. And that I didn't know that when you're paying back monthly that it takes off interest instead of taking off the total.
Yeah.
I didn't know
you
that.
pay I think the math for you, if you would have taken out about $100,000 in loans, you would have been paying back about $1,000 a month, and maybe 700 of that at the beginning is going to interest.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, because we did the math, do you remember the exact numbers that we did? Because we did the math and it was like you pay.
It was pennies.
Yeah.
It was pennies towards the total amount.
Because you'd be paying about $12,000 a year, but in that math, it should take you about 8 or 9 years to pay it off. But really, it would take you 40 years, 30 years, whatever the math.
Yeah, when you put the numbers into that little computer thing, my heart dropped, and I thought, wow, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we talked, I realized this, what I thought was never going to happen to me was possibly going to happen to me.
Yeah. Which is very normal, especially you're going to go to PT school and everyone around you, not everyone, but a lot of people around you.
Yeah.
And even at this UIW, there's a lot of doctorate type programs, and there's hundreds of thousands of dollars student loans flowing around.
And I just didn't think it would be me.
Yeah. And so you realized that, and then you got the acceptance email, I guess, from the other school.
I actually got a call.
Okay.
So when that morning that I got that call, I was headed home to pay the non-refundable $500 deposit fee
for the other school.
I had already accepted, but I didn't pay the fee. And so I was going home to talk to my parents and say, I am so sorry that you are going to have to worry about me financially. Thankfully, volleyball saved me a little bit. Thankfully, I had some money from them left over that I could use towards this, but it wasn't going to be enough. And I was in hot yoga, Black Swan yoga.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in hot yoga, and we're doing this awful exercise that I'm almost crying. It's so painful. And I look on my watch because it's buzzing, and it says, and I look at Risa, and I go, oh my gosh, you're calling me.
You run out of the room.
She goes, go answer it.
Yeah.
I had a band around my legs. I'm waddling out of the room. Yeah. And, we did one side of the exercise, and then I didn't have to do the other.
The rest.
I have to do the other side. And they say, we're happy to say that, because I was waitlisted. They said, we're happy to say that a position has opened up for you, and we'd like you to join our class of 2027. Wow. And
Did you cry?
I didn't know what to do. No. But I didn't know what to do because, one, it seems like a dream come true.
Yeah.
And that all my problems were solved. But I told you, I'm the type of person who says, okay, this is what my life's going to look like. I'm going to get excited for it. This is the plan I have for myself. So I felt weird making that decision.
You didn't have to make it on the phone, did you?
No.
They were just
I said, thank you so much. And they said, we're going to send you an acceptance email.
Okay.
Let us know. But yeah, I honestly wasn't going to say yes.
Really?
Because I was so convinced that, my mom had been telling me the Lord will provide, whatever, even if I was going to be in debt, something is going to happen. Whatever path I'm on is the right path. And so regardless of having hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay back, it was all going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But I just didn't realize that the way that it was supposed to work out was that I was going to get this holy grail of a phone call, and they were going to say, it was going to change my life. And now my life was going this way, and then it completely went that way.
Yeah. My wife and I, when my wife and I were making the decision of me to go full time with Locker Room Finance, it was all the worst case scenarios. And like God's got a plan, but I was always like, if I do this, will I be ruining something or missing out on something else? Or what is my income going to be and all this stuff? And we came down to the conclusion that the true worst case scenario is that like I die and I still go to heaven. And like, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And so in your position too, it's like, do you go to this school and get a bunch of student loans, which obviously we don't want, but you would be fine.
And when we last talked, I didn't have a part-time job either.
Yeah.
I was stressing. Nobody was hiring. God provided, found ISI, and hashtag sponsor. No, I'm just kidding.
They should pay you for that.
Yeah, they should.
I post them every single day. They should pay me.
I saw you post them, and I saw them on Broadway, and then I used to intern at Positive Action Rehab, which is by the Alamo Dome, and I went in to tell them that I chose and that I was also looking for a part-time job, and they said, go try at ISI.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I went in, and I love the community there, too.
Yeah. No, they're awesome. They're very good.
Yeah.
So you're making a little bit of money there. Is there any aspect of your decision that we haven't talked about that you think is important or valuable?
I think I'm somebody who really likes being around people with good hearts, and I don't want to rag on that private school and say, I'm so glad I didn't choose them, because the one thing that really was pulling me towards them was how good that community was. This school that I chose, it's public, it's a part of a huge medical center. Even though in a class of 43, I'm still going to be kind of just another person there.
Yeah. Living downtown, big city.
Right next to Love Field Airport. 10 minutes probably from
very different downtown lifestyle than the private school.
Yeah, it would have been. I don't know. I really was torn between how happy am I going to be, and then my boyfriend made a good point where, I could be super happy and then be unhappy by how much I'm in debt. And money's not everything. You texted me that after I told you I got into this cheaper school. You said, money's not everything. Thought you're right. But, joy and being a good person, that is. Yeah. And when you have such a huge financial burden, it doesn't always bring out the best in you.
So how much of the decision was financial versus everything else?
It was probably number 2.
Okay. What was number 1?
Number 1 was, how well am I going to be set up as a physical therapist?
So like the connections that school has.
The web of, resources.
There you go. $70,000 you just saved. So it seems like our conversation about interest impacted you a lot, just understanding how that works. So for the people listening, explain, because someone listening might be considering PT school or, student loans or whatever. Explain the difference in private and federal and how that interest is kind of different and what it looks like.
Yeah. Feel free to stop me if I get this wrong. But my base understanding, people listening, is that with the federal loans, so FAFSA, 3% interest paying back a very small.
Usually 3 to 5.
Yeah, a very small percentage.
Provided by the government.
That small amount of interest, it only adds on so much that when you start paying off your loans, you're paying towards those loans is going towards the interest, and it decreases faster. So all of a sudden you're hitting, the total, right? Am I getting this right?
So when you're paying it back, it's not all going to interest first. It goes to the principal, so the balance, right? And interest at the same time. It's just the interest rate depends how much of it goes to interest versus principal.
Which basically the difference between federal and independent? Private.
Yeah.
A whole lot goes towards interest.
Yeah.
And not as much goes to federal. So you could just think maybe 40 years of paying off this independent private loan, and then 5 years from.
I mean, maybe not that dramatic, but the biggest thing is the interest rate, right? So federal stuff, it's usually 3, 4, 5%. Then on $100, they would charge you $5 of interest over the course of a year. Really rough math. But then private loans, you're looking 10, 12, 15%, maybe as low as 8, depending on the loan. But then in that, for every $100, they're charging you $10, $12. again, very basic math here, but it's 3, 4, 5 times as much in interest that you're paying back. And so it does slow down. But I think what we learned in your case is for the type of school you were going to, there was a maximum amount of federal loans you could apply for and receive. And that was 20,000 a year?
Yes.
Or, okay. So then you could get 40,000 in that. So the other 60,000 would have to be private loans at a much higher interest rate. And so it wasn't even an option for you to like, oh, well, let me just only get government loans. Like, no, they only allow you so many.
Yeah.
And so then you would have had to take out some private loans and gotten hit with the interest.
Really, what I took from that conversation was it's going to be a whole lot of time if I go to the more expensive school, or a much smaller amount of time going to the... I've decided to apply for FAFSA so we can use my savings towards rent, and it won't deplete all my savings, but I'll have that money left over to be able to start a life after PT school.
So you are still taking out student loans, but you're only going to take out what?
I think it might be
15,000 a year?
17 the first year, 15 the second year, and then 7 the third year.
Okay, for like that third, like half the year at the end. Okay, so you're still planning on taking out loans that'll be 30,000 or the full 37 to pay for school?
Yeah, it just makes more sense. My family and I decided it makes more sense to put savings towards, my life and then use.
Because you won't have a job or anything during that time.
Correct.
Okay. So at the end of the day, you're still going to take out student loans for PT school. But instead of taking out 103, you're going to take out about 30, and then you'll use some money that you have saved to pay for living expenses and stuff like that. And then that 30 that you're taking out, it's all federal, I would assume, because you can qualify for 20 a year. So knowing that, have you done the math on how much you'll have to pay back and how long it'll take you?
I have not.
We should. It won't be that bad.
But then again, having a DPT, which
you should make some money.
Physical therapy, I'll be able. I'll be good.
Let's see. If I have $30,000 in loans at, let's just say 5% interest. So if you had 30,000 in student loans, again, this depends on the interest rate, on the minimum monthly payment and stuff. Scenario A, you pay $300 a month for 11 years. You pay $8,700 in interest. Scenario B, $500 a month, takes you 6 years, only $5,000 in interest. Scenario C, you pay $1,000 a month, you're done in 3 years. Scenario lockerroomfinance, pay as much as you possibly can.
Right.
I mean,
or you put on money towards the principal. So you add money to the principal.
Yeah, and you just pay it off as fast as you can.
Sounds like a plan.
So that's what I did. So I had $22,000 in student loans, and I could have paid $100 a month, and it was during the COVID time. So really, I could have gone 2.5 years without paying, basically, because it was like on pause or whatever. And then when I did start paying, I could have paid $150 a month for 10, 15 years or something. But instead, I paid $1,000 a week, and I paid off my loans in like 3 months.
Oh, wow.
It was very easy.
Sounds great.
And I wasn't even making, I was driving food delivery. I was driving Favor and just driving all day, every day. But with you, in residency, isn't there something where like, if you go to residency, you make less money, but then you have higher earning potential after residency? What's the other option? You just go...
I go straight into work.
And then you'd make more right away, but because you don't have residency, you make less.
Yeah, so a lot of people will either go straight into working or straight into residency. I feel like you don't see a lot of working and then going into residency because there's a pay cut.
Yeah.
So they don't want to do that.
So you do residency, then once you're done with residency, you come out and you're ideally, it sounds like, making more money than someone that didn't do residency. And so in residency, you make like reasonable money, but then after is when you really start getting paid. So I guess worst case scenario for you would be in residency, you're making your minimum payments on your student loans. Ideally more because you're still making money.
Right.
But then definitely after residency, that's when you could probably pay them all off in a year. So.
I just remember when you put the numbers in for the 103,000, it said possibly 40 years.
It's
and
like
that just
never, and really with a tough spot, especially people with a lot of student loans in the medical field, the interest will be so high that your balance will actually go up. Like if you have $100,000 in loans, but the interest is so much greater than the required minimum monthly payment, like you could have $100,000, You could be paying $700 a month. And after 1 year of paying it, now you could have $102,000. Like your balance actually goes up, even though you're paying every single month, until finally you pay down enough interest that now it starts going down. It's absurd.
The way that I pitched it to my parents too, I said, if I go to 103,000, I could end up paying 300,000 for school.
Yeah. Is it really that dramatic? Is that the math we did?
I was being super dramatic.
Okay.
But I just said
you could pay double, triple.
Yeah. I said I do not want to pay $200,000, $300,000 for an education that took me 2.5 years.
So from an athlete perspective, if I was a student athlete, think back when I was in college, if someone said, hey, come to this presentation about money, I wouldn't be excited because I was like just living it up, living the dream, never like, I mean, you kind of said yourself, never really thinking about money, just kind of going on about my life.
Yeah, you're in limbo right now.
What was the vibe like on the team? Like, were they excited about coming to it? Did they say anything about it? And then
I think they were dragging their feet thinking, oh, we have to go to this mandatory meeting.
Yeah, because you have a lot of mandatory stuff probably.
I mean, meetings with random outside people are never fun. Nobody likes to give up their afternoon. Yeah. And I was dragging my feet.
Yeah, because you didn't actually have to go.
Yeah, I did.
You were done with.
Yeah, I didn't have to go. And then I thought, you know what? It doesn't hurt to have a little more information. I'm about to start the rest of my life. And I think at the time I was accepting, I did accept at that school because in the meeting you said, oh, y'all can sign up for individual slots. And I thought, I need to talk to this guy now about my situation.
It was a big decision.
Yeah, I think I was the last person to walk into that meeting. And then I needed to know more.
What about during the presentation made you want to set up a meeting?
I didn't realize that my life was about to start so soon, honestly, and that the real world was coming at me fast. Soon would no longer be in limbo in college as a student athlete, just kind of getting through.
It's like life's not real in college.
No, it's not, especially at a little small school like this. And as an athlete who gets scholarship, you don't have to worry about a lot.
You're not paying for everything.
And then I kind of just started getting hit with during the meeting, I got hit with the realization that life is happening in 3 months. Because you actually told everyone, you said, oh, maybe 3 years from now, 2 years from now, when y'all are graduating and starting real life. And I thought, this is 3 months. Yeah. Now it's 2. And that's a scary thought.
And you had no plan.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
My plan was figure out how to pay for PT school because this is my dream and it's going to happen. It wasn't an option to get in somewhere and then say no. So I kind of needed to figure out, I'm a big girl now. I have to figure out finances, and that's something that is going to become a huge stressor on my life as of 2 months from now.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't have to be stressful if you have a plan for it.
I know. I just wish I could start working right away, honestly. So then
making money while you're in school. Yeah.
But thankfully, I have this little side gig right now.
Yeah. I don't know how to end podcasts. I'm very new to this thing.
Save money and work hard.
Every time I say something, I feel like I'm like Walmart. Save money, live better. Isn't that their thing?
Yeah,
that still their thing? Yeah. I think spend less money than you make.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like,
Are you giving advice right now?
Give advice.
Oh, shoot. She's giving advice. Go ahead.
As a 22-year-old woman who wants to do a lot of things, I want to buy books. I want to go out and be able to not worry about how much I'm spending, at a bar or something. These are real things you have to think about. You can't put them to the side because then future you is going to look back and think, you just spent your entire paycheck on stupid stuff. I don't need the stupid stuff to be happy. So, finding less materialistic things that you have to spend for, it's going to, provide that joy instead of spending money.
It's funny because you say buying books, and I feel like most people don't relate to that.
Okay, freshman year, I had a bunch of money from graduation, from high school graduation. Yeah. I spent 2/3 of it on clothes.
Yeah, that's more relatable.
You don't need that many clothes. You can wear things. You can layer things. You can buy a jacket that you can wear with 20 different shirts.
What's the new Lululemon? What's the
Aloe? I love Aloe.
Yeah.
I have only accepted gifts from Aloe.
Oh, okay.
I have never bought no. And
everything's like $100.
I love those luxury brands, the athleisure wear. I love them, but realistically, I'm only going to wear them if it's a gift or if I have a gift card.
Yeah.
I can't. I'd rather just go buy the dupe
Stuff at Target. It's the same.
It is.
Although I'm going to Houston sometime soon, and apparently there's a Lulu outlet over there, and I might just bring a bunch of money.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do it.
It'd be fun.
Do you have the money for it?
My wife and I, we would set aside a couple $100 to go and do that. But again, it's something we would plan for.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the Lululemon theory for traveling?
No.
If you're going to a new city, look up where the Lulus are, and like that's going to be the good place to walk around and get all the good food and the cutesy side of town.
That's a great.
Because they don't build Lulus anywhere,
Right.
They build them in the community that's, cute
That's
and
going to
walkable,
wear
and
it.
you get your $12 matchas, and that's the Lululemon theory for traveling.
Hey, also drink black coffee because it's cheaper.
I don't drink coffee.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Oh.
I don't.
I just drink black coffee is cheaper, less calories.
Yeah.
Just
I drink-
find the things
I drink water.
cheaper.
My dream partnership,
Drink water.
I want to be partnered with Element. Do you know Element?
Yes, I love Element.
Yeah, it's so good.
Didn't you bring one in to Molly?
Maybe.
At
Oh yeah,
ISI?
because she was doing High Rocks. So
Yeah.
She needed them.
I drink one every
What's
day.
you don't have any NIL deals or anything, do you?
Not anymore.
What's your like big dream NIL?
Lululemon?
Just like unlimited Lulu stuff?
Yes.
What NIL stuff did you have?
I used to drink a lot of energy drinks freshman and
You're
sophomore
gonna say
year.
you used to drink a lot, okay?
You can't have alcoholic or
I know, yeah, you shouldn't. You're good.
I used to drink a lot of energy drinks, and so I had this deal with Alani, and they would send me 4 cases a month.
A lot of athletes have that deal, right?
I don't know,
Okay.
actually. I got away from NIL
Okay.
because it was just one more thing that I had to do.
Like too much to keep up
Yeah, some student athletes, ex-student athletes, they created this website, 98 Strong, and this is not an ad. They market towards, you sign up for it, you say you're a student athlete, and they send you deals. So I had a deal with C4 where I had to post a picture on Instagram and 3 Instagram stories marketing C4, and then they Venmo'd me $100.
That's cool.
But whereas Caitlin Clark,
Yeah.
she got 1.2 million
Yeah.
from deals who were
Yeah.
reaching.
Because at that level, it's
so-
like Nike calls and
Mhm.
they say, how much do you want? And she's like, I don't know, $500,000.
Yeah. It helps when you have people in your corner that are they're very networked and they have those connections and they're doing it for you. I had to do it myself. So senior year, I decided, no.
It's not worth it. Like the $100 and the free energy drinks isn't worth having.
And then I
to
stopped drinking energy
deal with
drinks
it,
and then, yeah.
That's good. You shouldn't drink. I mean, I don't know. I don't drink energy drinks. What should I title this episode? Because I want it to be something like clickbaity. Like, I saved an athlete, whatever.
Yeah.
So what would it be? 70,
70K.
70K, 73,
No, it would be
68, 67.
It would be 67.
So headline all caps. I saved an athlete $67,000.
Yeah.
/ interview with Natalie Kimmel.
Slay.
Slay. That's
Slay.
funny.